Here we go. It's showtime. Our second show. It's time. It's time. Where'd our eagle go? He's around here somewhere. He can be a bit time and space challenged, you know. Gotta keep an eye on him. An eagle eye. He was hovering here just a minute ago. Eagle sighting. Oh, there he is. Phew. Shine on. Welcome to Spirit Skies. Welcome home to your heart and to the skies of your spirit. Hi there. Welcome once again to Spirit Skies. Once again? Wouldn't that make it twice again? Never mind.
Twice.
How delightful it is that you've joined us.
Too much.
I'm your host, SteVen D. LightSpring, and I am joined here by my inner committee of rather odd, whimsical, playful, and sometimes downright zany, and yes, for some of you, possibly a bit annoying, co-hosts. Although I did introduce them last time in quite a bit of detail in our first show, I will be introducing my two regular co-hosts once again very shortly on today's show. But first, an extra special welcome to you today for joining us for this, our second program. I second the motion. Of our new radio show, Spirit Skies.
Blue skies from now on.
Once again, we're taking off, my dear eagle. Twice again. We hope to now provide a welcome place here that might just help you feel a bit more at home in you. As we find ways to stay a bit more in our own heart zone, we hope that some of that will rub off on you, and maybe you'll find it a bit easier to listen, follow, and all around just feel at home right there in your heart. We realize the heart gets a lot of bad press, especially in love songs and such, where we hear all about broken hearts, cold, cold hearts, and heartbreak hotels. But we feel that the heart is the doorway to the soul and to the depths of the spirit. Once we get in touch with our heart zone and learn how to be at peace there, it seems that whole worlds can open up for us in more ways than we can count. So we'd love for you to stay with us as we explore how to go with our hearts, as we covered in the first show. And now we'll share about how we might be able to stay in our hearts with today's program. If for no other reason than that it might help us to not be quite so stuck in our heads. Okay, encore. Go for it. Hit it, Keys. Don't be clogging up your noggin with a lot of thought of fears. Not when your heart is waiting to become a place of cheers. So give your heart a listen. You've been missing so much there that just might lift your spirit if you hear it, if you dare. Thanks, Keys. For those of you that tuned in to our first show, you'll recognize this following part. But I feel it's important, especially in our first few shows, to introduce in a bit extra detail each of my one-of-a-kind, but just like everybody else, co-hosts. Maybe this would be a good time to introduce you to the good folks who have stopped by to give us a listen. I could introduce you as Geezer, my alter ego, my high-flying, fast-talking, slow-moving wise guy, and all-around folksy wisdom handyman. Or maybe even as my hired self, as I usually do when people ask when we perform together. But maybe this time I could let you introduce yourself. I mean, this is such a special occasion, and I did give you a couple of labels, even though I know you don't take to, nor do you ever really fit well with labels. So people do have some idea of who you are. Maybe you could share what you're about. You know, what it is you're most passionate about and what you're here to do. I have a feeling you could tell us in your own special way.
That would be downright juicy. Well, I say this wherever I go. But this is for you, my dear Eagle, and all your curious listeners that are tuning in today. This is for them, too. Delight of you. I'm here to bless on you, impress on you, the spark of light you are. Delight of you, so bright of you. Yes, you're a brilliant star, though all in you so small and you may not yet see its light. At the core of you, far more of you still waits to shine so bright, till the best in you, so blessed in you, comes beaming out so strong, and delight of you, so bright of you, that's been there all along. So deep in you, asleep in you, now awakens, lights the sky, and delight of you, so bright of you, is what we are so blessed by.
Thanks, Geez. I love how you get right to the heart of us and find a way to just bless us real good.
I'm all blessed up,
Man, I'm just so glad you're my alter ego. Otherwise, I'd be quite a lone eagle on my own.
The pleasure's all mine.
Yes, so fine, just divine. Well, there you have him. He's beyond description, really. But I gave you some labels to work with, and he gave you a few lines of his own. Now, all I can say is just stay tuned, because around here, we're never really quite sure who might just speak up next, and what in the world, or way out of this world, they might have to say.
It's only words, but words are all I have to take your heart away.
Thanks, Tweez. Well, that must be Tweezer. This time I'll go ahead and introduce you now for the good folks who are listening that may have missed your jolly splash landing in our first show. Tweezer, my winner child who always seems to come through for me in a pinch,
Hello there.
came through loud and clear in the summer of 2015, just in time to be on my new album, Awaken to Love. He sings 2 songs on it in his own uniquely serene and effervescent way that I just couldn't resist or improve on. So what else could I do? I just had to let him do his thing, to shine his special blissful high beam. I knew then that those certain songs were just meant for him to sing, so I let him. Anyway, now you know a bit about Tweezer. He's both my jolly singingest winner child and our all-around amazing sound-effectingest little man, who's often quite full of surprises.
Woohoo!
So welcome, Tweez. We love you.
Okay.
We're just so glad to have you.
Okay.
I'm sure some of the good folks out there have some kind of Tweez-like character in their life. but possibly in their outside world too. But on this show, our focus is mostly on our inner scenery. So I mean, they might just have someone like you in their heart and minds too. Someone who, right in the middle of the prayer or meditation time, or right before falling to sleep, sometime when it's probably not quite ideal, might just come through with something rather playful and oddly inspired, or just off the wall. For they bring many delights into your life, like imagination, creativity, playfulness.
And the Japanese transistor radio.
You never know quite what to do with such a character, but you really don't know what to do without him either. I mean, he always keeps it interesting, and it all feels quite innocent, just nearly always playful and, well...
forever young.
Yeah, that's it. He seems to represent some place down deep inside us that never really wanted to grow up anyway, and is still not sure about the whole idea. And after all...
girls, they wanna have fun.
Exactly. That's what the deepest part of us, what you might call our spirit, is all about anyway. There's a core in us that doesn't really relate to all this nonsense about growing old. What's with all that anyway? It seems to be something that happens to these earth suits we live in, but it's not really who we are, right? I mean, every year I get older, more trips around the sun, more rings around the tree of this odd little odyssey called life. A little less energy, a few more wrinkles, and further we go. Deep inside, in our heart of hearts, our soul, our spirit, somehow we still know that...
I feel pretty, oh so pretty.
Okay. No matter what the mirror, or the doctor, or anyone else says, there's a heart here, a core here, that just knows it has wings, and somewhere back in childhood, before we settled into all the routines of things and all the expectations from those around us, somewhere back there, we still knew that
up so high in the sky, high, 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 high.
yeah,
High
that we were meant for
and
higher things than the surface
God.
things we often settle for in life. That's where music and laughter and dancing and being in a joyful spirit all has its place to lift us and point us back to our spirit. And maybe even odd little shows like this one, where you can get in on some good heart share moments with music, spoken word, soothing sound, some silliness, and sky-high thoughts. Might just give you a nice little nudge right when you need it. Well, who knows? It's worth a try, right? We sure hope you find this place and time to be somewhere you can swing by and get a bit of fresh air for your spirit, and maybe a nice little lift for your heart wings.
Hey, I know what you're thinking. You've been twitching with your itching, with your longing for the sky. Someplace down deep inside you where you find your wings to fly. To air that's cleaner, sweet, serener, past the clouds where all is clear. That's why we're just so glad that you have joined us now and here. Where we're waking to be taking flights of fancy never plane, nor views from helicopters could take in this much terrain. Yeah. Where we're basking, multitasking in the sun while gazing to horizons we have yet to hug right here in me and you. Yes!
Thanks, Keys. So, here we are on this odd little planet, doing our best to make some sense of who we are, why we're here, and where we are going. In the meantime, though, in many ways, it is our very own journey. We are so very alone here. For once you close your eyes for sleep each night, deep inside of us, we all sleep alone. Yet it can also be said that we are all in this together. And in so many ways, we are so very connected at the heart. Whatever our many outer differences, we have so much in common there. If we love, if we care, if we hope, if we seek peace, if we reach for joy, these things, if we are healthy-hearted humans, we all do. And this is where it's so important that we stick together to help each other just a bit more each day, to stay with our hearts. And maybe, if we'll listen, there are voices within us that may give us some clues. No, I'm not talking about real loud and clear voices, but sometimes they might as well be. I mean, once you're learning to listen and follow your heart, like we talked about in the last show, you might just be a bit more aware of what your inner committee might be trying to tell you.
Think about it.
Who knows?
But not too much.
You might have your version of a geezer, a deeper sense of higher wisdom.
Here, here.
Maybe not as playful and folksy as mine,
Here, there.
but still. That comes through to give you a wise lift of insight right when you need it. Or a tweezer that, somewhat like my winter child, tries to keep things more fun, musical, and maybe even magical for you.
Woohoo!
Yes, I'm aware that there are many other variations on these, and I plan to introduce other occasional committee members on the show from time to time. Some cameos, some occasional guest voices.
Okay.
We'll do our best to introduce them to you as they show up.
Carpet diem. Sometimes you gotta seize the moment. Rug-burn or no.
But what about you? Is this all just way too weird? Have you never thought about such inner voices or ever even wanted to admit they were there? Sure, there are many variations on the subject that might be more edgy or more loony than the kind of playful sharing that this show is all about. There's what some Eastern meditation traditions call the monkey mind, the part of you that forever wants to yada 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 when you're trying to think or sleep or make good decisions without second guessing and just get on with your life. Again, there are many variations on this and many takes on how people may explain these things. But for me, my tweezer is the closest to the essence of my spirit in the most playful, carefree way I know to be.
Footloose.
And often, if I go with his nudge,
Kick off
I
my
can
Sunday shoes.
get out of my overused thinking cap mode and really get into a joyful space, much more so than the more grown-up side of me ever seems to find.
Yeah.
So, our theme for today is stay with your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Last time we talked about the basics of needing to go with your heart. If you're to ever find a deep sense of what rings most true in you,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't go there, you'll likely never know what's the most loving place in you, what best points you to peace, and what it is that might even help you get on with some joy.
Feeling comfy.
But let's say you do go there. Let's say you know how to get there. Actually listen to and follow your heart,
Oh, yeah.
like we talked about last time. But there's a lot going on around you every day and plenty going on within.
He's a zippity-dude
I mean-
all day.
It can be quite distracting.
Yeah.
And here I am talking about the heart when, for many people, this time of year and the holiday season, more people are trying to get back to their heart than probably at any other time of the year.
I listen to my heart.
Yet they don't live there. So for many, it feels pretty awkward.
Hello?
I mean, they're supposed to buy gifts for those people in their lives they say they care about.
Anybody home?
For some, this really is a time of great joy, especially if they've learned how to give from their heart.
Cool.
But for many, it tends to become all about obligations and expectations. and a lot of commercial hype. And then after the holidays, yikes, they might find themselves feeling pretty far down. Maybe even way down there where so often we find ourselves and so often lose ourselves in the lowlands of living.
From lowlands of living, you often don't see the heights, the horizons of hope that can free, the heart to keep holding, the faith to believe in all that the spirit, the soul can achieve. In less than an instant, once trust makes its choice to let go of all less than love's truest voice, that's heard by the heart, at the heart of the soul, who's learning to listen to the currents below. The rush of the rapids, the strain of life's streams that often come splashing, demanding extremes of all our responses, reactions resumed, till all that feels left is a shell, no more room for any such luxury as peace or delight in anything more than escape from sheer fright of each moment's taut tension, the pull of the strain from the strings past our heart that gets wept from the drain. In these lowlands we're living, so far from the beat, the pulse at the core of our heart that we treat so often as though it were merely decor, to tap on occasions what else are hearts for, but to pull on their strings during holidays flare, to bring us some cheer or remind us we care. But can't we remember? What do we not know? That matters of heart are what matter most so. That we give to our hearts is what makes the difference in tolls our blind busyness takes. And for all our declaring what matters the most, beneath all our blarings, much more than a ghost of a chance to still choose a highway that's much more conducive to caring for the cure at our core. For all that most ails us, so trails us no end, till finally we find our sure heartbeat within. That from lowlands of living can lead us back to the path that is purest, is surest, most true, to all that beats deepest, sleepest in us, still waiting our choice to be still and to trust, to soon be awakened, almost aware that lies deep within us, the truth that lays bare all else but the mountains of meaning, the skies, places our spirit so loves to soar flies. The moment it's given respect and free reign, take us to heights when no more we restrain our fullness of being, our majesty's beam, the light that we're here to be, living our dream of all that our hearts have been whispering to us, that
there's so much more to life worth all our trust, if we can but find it within us to go to much higher places than these lowlands below.
So, how do we get back up, out from being caught up in living in the lowlands? We find ourselves longing for the fresh air and the open skies of our spirit, instead of all these little corners of mind that we often paint ourselves into. And much further away from being so at home in our hearts, like we'd really like to be. What can help us get back there? Even better, how can we stay there as much as possible? Now we're coming up to a little break time, which we'll be doing at the halfway point of the show on a regular basis. We'll have a word or two from our sponsors, which, since most of you may be hearing this in an archive or podcast format, you could just fast forward here. But if you haven't heard these messages, and they'll often rotate, and we're planning some special little break time segments that might be so darn special they'll just knock your socks off. Either way, you might stay tuned. You never know. You might just miss a real treat and a way for you to be blessed, as well as a way for you to bless us back, which always blesses you, right? By supporting our sponsors, music makers, and showstoppers.
Hi, I'm Geezer, just an all-around wise guy, alter ego, and hired self for Mr. LightSpring. Are you loving what you hear here? Well, here, and everywhere else if you have one of those amazing, uplifting CDs from SteVen D. LightSpring. His latest CD, Awaken to Love, is available at cdbaby.com/SteVen D. LightSpring. Get you one of those puppies, and I promise you, they won't keep you up barking all night. They'll bless you good, and you'll make a mountain of difference for us to keep us flying here on spirit skies.
Hi, SteVen D. LightSpring here. Are you into good vibes? You never know, but we have a feeling you might just be so glad you did. Stop by beingwell.com and get a sweet load of good vibes. We'll be providing an oasis of soothing sound. Join us at beingwell.com.
Once you find that song in you.
Hey, all you rare birds and sky-loving spirits.
I told you once, and I'm telling you again. 'Cause if you love fresh air for your spirit as much as I do, I wouldn't trade being there for the world, or half a dozen of these odd little planets. It's happening January 14th, 2016, in Charlotte, North Carolina, at Amos South End. I'm telling you, sky-loving spirits are driving in for miles and miles around, just so they can cheer on the eagle as he makes one sweet swooping landing. January 14th, 2016, Charlotte, North Carolina, at Amos South End. Be there. I will. See you there.
Song in you. Go sell
so. Maybe we just need a whole new beginning, a whole new way of being, in touch with our hearts, aligned with our spirit. Maybe we'll start to once again hear the song of our soul. Maybe, if we're open to listening to our hearts, to a much deeper place of love in us than we have ever been. If you're ready, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, so the saying goes. And it may be said that when we are open to learning, our teachers are everywhere. Especially once we open to the voice that rings more true in us than any other. And again, if we're ready, and if we're open, we may hear it, and if we listen, really listen, and do our best to stay open to what is shown to us, we may find it dawning on us. A whole new realization, a whole new way of seeing, as we open the eyes of our heart to love's new day. Love's new day. For once in my life, I'm listening to love. It's coming from somewhere deep in me above. It's shining down on me, yet bubbling up from the depths of my being to heights I've become. It's whispering gently, yet powerful, bold. It's telling me more than I've ever been told. It's speaking my heart truth, not bothering to find a pathway through reason that's pleasing my mind. But each word that it's saying, I know to be true. It's moving, it's freeing, it's all I can do. To just keep on opening as I stand here in awe of all that I know that's so true, not one flaw. So for once in my life, I will listen to love. Keep speaking to me, clear through me to bud. A blossom, a bloom, a full flourishing tree, a truth full of hope from this heart here in me. Till now I have always, most always just said, whatever came to me, came through me, my head was star of the show with reasons galore for all that was right, with more volumes in store. To bolster defenses, all arguments geared, to build walls to shield me from all I had feared. But for once in my life now, I'm listening to love. For it's speaking my heart and it's tearing me up with its treasures of truth and its rambunctious raw. Bringing a light that beams straight to my soul. Hardly can bear all the light that it shines on my logic, my reasons, my well-practiced lines. But for once in my life now, from this day now on, I'll listen to love. For love's new day has dawned. So let's say that we really do start listening to our hearts. And somewhere deep inside us, whole worlds do seem to be opening up for us. Wow, what a wonderful thing that would be, or is, if you've experienced it. But in the nitty-gritty bang-bang of everyday life, how can we stay in that open space within us? How can we stay centered in a greater reality that may keep us anchored in what is most true for us? Many turn to meditation, to prayer, to their higher power, whatever gives them some sense of equilibrium, balance, and serenity. in an often crazy, way out of balance world. However you define your way of finding peace within, and I'm not here to push any particular way, though so many of you may wish I would be one to promote whatever your way is that you feel is the way to go. I don't feel that's my role here. I've been told what to believe by so many all my life, and I feel it's more helpful usually to just share from my path and my experience and what I feel that I may have learned or am learning, without insisting that you follow some particular persuasion. I feel that my role is more of a somewhat quirky, chirpy cheerleader. Hopefully not too loud, though, just chirping along in my somewhat offbeat way, hoping that maybe I could bring some cheer and maybe even a wing lift to some of you who could use one about now. I'm not really so concerned about those of you who are really closely tied to your church, synagogue, temple, lodge, club, meetup, whatever it is that gives you a sense of belonging and family, and seems to provide a particular way to stay encouraged. I'm more concerned about many of you who don't really have much of a reserved space in the sparking lot of life. You're kind of on your own in many ways than one. Or wherever you do connect with people, it doesn't do that much for you. And you really could use a good word and a bit of a nudge or two to stay somewhat closer to your heart. But hopefully, you find ways to give you a spark of encouragement here and there. We all could use that, you know. No matter how self-styled and whatever caliber of independent thinkers we think we are. I don't know about you, but for me, I get a lot of inspiration from people around me. Just everyday people. Many of them are going through things that I can't even imagine. They have what most of us would consider plenty of reasons to just give up on life or love or caring or trying at all. But somehow they hang in there and hang out here and there in many places in our lives. And by just their presence, they seem to provide a spark that ignites something deep within us. Maybe it's because they've learned or are learning how to stay in their hearts, pretty much no matter what's going on. Sure, they have rough days, and some days, like the rest of us, they're doing good to just keep their head above water. But on a good day, or even in just a good moment, their presence, their lives, and their amazing efforts to just live from their hearts in each moment sends a message to our hearts that there is hope and that love might just conquer everything after all. I bow to you, dear hearts full of love. I honor your spirit that beams brightly in you and from you, that sheds a little bit of light our way, just by all that you do, in the way you care, in the way you give, to live the best you can from your heart full of love. It really is an amazing thing to know you and be inspired by you. I had the privilege of writing a little song that was inspired by some dear people who are fighting the good fight to keep love alive and find peace in the middle of what sometimes can be some pretty big storms. This song says a lot about that and has a chorus that I hope will be appearing in an ongoing series of songs that will be about different people who've crossed my path and lit it so much by their hearts full of love. I hope it speaks to you. I wasn't sure about this one. Only has one slightly long verse and a rather catchy chorus. But the music's a bit different from what I usually do and gave me some doubt, but Somehow it felt right. I hope you feel that the message we're talking about here came through. It's called Amazing Thing Part 1, Soldier's Resurrection.
They married with the highest hopes, a peaceful, joy-filled life. From all the love that filled their hearts, from the day they met, it all felt so right. But then he took the call to serve in a warring, distant land. They knew that he would have to go to all his call of duty would be mad. So he boldly laid his life on the line for the cause. They said it was for freedom, so he had to go fight what could be fought. And though some would say he was one of the very lucky ones, for he lived to tell of his trek through hell, but on his return it had only begun. For him and those around him who couldn't quite understand the pain that he kept going through, the horrors on every hand. From all that he had been through, that came to live inside his tortured mind and body, that felt like a big part of him had gone and died. But together they knew somehow their war would still be won. Though it be a long road back, they still believe in resurrection. And somehow they could make it, for their love would conquer all. Though at times so hard and full healing far, together they'd stand and walk tall. Heart full of love's an amazing thing. It gives us strength to be more than we'd ever dream. Though often it's not easy on this upward path it takes, it still will make it to the peak of the mountain of difference that it makes. For when a heart's full of love, you know it's an amazing thing. We learn to find a way to rest on its eagle wings. Somehow we'll let our hearts full of love carry us through whatever doubts and questions that come blowing. We still choose to let our hearts always stay so full of love. They will lift us up, they will lift us up. For a heart full of love's an amazing thing, waiting for us to simply trust. Our hearts full of love. For a heart full of love's an amazing thing, counting on us to always just trust. A heart full of love. A heart full of love. For a heart full of love's an amazing thing, waiting for us to simply trust. Our hearts full of love. For a heart full of love's an
amazing thing, counting on us to always just trust a heart full of love, a heart full of love. May we always keep hearts full of love. Yes, a heart full of love's an amazing thing. And we're truly grateful to those amazing souls who inspire us by the way they manage to keep on living and loving and encouraging us to do and be more as well by their uplifting example. But what about the days we're not so sure? Some days we might have felt that we've just given all we could. After all, even if our heart's amazing, some days our bodies just don't seem to be on board. Many of you have many challenges that you may not talk about much to others, but nevertheless face every day. How can we receive more from our newly warmed hearts and uplifted spirits that might just give our bodies a boost as well? Of course, we need to see about getting enough nourishment, sleep, and exercise, maybe even some much-needed play. But is there a way that we can bring in all the more energy from our heart and spirit that may help us have more down-to-earth energy for our daily tasks too? I mean, we know that what we focus on can really drag us down or lift us up, right? If we can think more hopeful thoughts, they usually help us feel a lot better. And so we tend to get more done. It helps to focus on what we want. So if we keep our thoughts on the uplifting side, it really can give us all the more energy to keep living and loving, can't it? If you're thinking hateful thoughts, you probably won't do too well at being loving. But on the other hand, if you're thinking thoughts of gratitude, you probably won't be spending time worrying, getting into trouble, or picking fights, right? Maybe we just need to be reminded again of how our heart really does impact all these things. If it's that big a deal, maybe we should ponder again our heart's infinity.
Though 1,000 other voices in 1,000 different ways can tell you what's most telling in 1,000 shades of gray. In a world you know it's black and white, no colors in between, you find for you what rings most true are hues you'd never see. Until you open up your heart, the skies just past your fears. You had no clue right inside of you were the reasons for your tears. Worlds that you created were all that you could see, until the day you realize your heart's infinity. Now every day's a new beginning, each moment brings your heart's rebirth to a world keep us knowing you are alive upon this earth. For you are here for your unfolding into all your heart can be, into a light keep us glowing from all your heart's infinity.
Well, that was just the first verse of the song. True to the theme of the song, it goes on much longer than that. But if you enjoyed that, maybe some of you will go check out the rather elaborate photo lyric video version of it on my YouTube channel, Inner Eagle Skies. It's got some really nice visuals and some quotes from Rumi in there, some of which we quoted in our first program. Some listeners have taken to heart those words from the chorus of that song. Every day's a new beginning. Each moment brings your heart's rebirth. Living in the now is like that. And there's nothing like unwrapping the present in each moment that can make you feel all the more at home in your heart. That's my hope for you, that you could always do that and feel that way. Because more than anything else, I hope you could say, along with Geezer, it's good to be home now.
It's good to be home now. It's good to be home now. At home in your heart, where you feel much more free now, so free to impart all the love you have missed now, till the mist now is cleared, and the love overtakes now, all mistakes now you feared had stolen the moments now gone, were nuggets of time now, for no time goes beyond. Each second that passes surpasses it all, in treasures unbounded, though bound up so small. It's good to be home now, at home in your heart, where time meets the timeless and time's just one part that knocks on the door now, the doorway to love, to pathways within you, deep in you above. Past high hopes and dreams of daydreams of the best, of all you can be now, to be all you're blessed. Where you are more free now than ever you've been, more free to express you, to suppress less within. For it's good to be home now, at home in your heart. So free to be free now, to free every part, to go with the flow now, to flow with all you are ever aware of, wherever you do, all you can within you to win you to love, and all that's so deep in you, deep in above, all good in you, home now, this home, every part, where now you can rest in the rest of your heart.
Well, I know we all have things we're working on that may prevent us from feeling that much at home in our hearts. But maybe with a bit of encouragement, we can get there. That's what we're all about here. We hope to be a signpost, a billboard, maybe for a moment or two, a flashing neon sign, to remind you that you're so much more than that stuff you do, or have, or borrow, or loan, or keep loading into closets, or even all those cool things you've learned how to do, or all the amazing things you know and can tell others all about. Your heart is so much more. Your spirit is the essence of you. All these other things are just expressions of you, no matter how fine or not so fine they are. But hanging around here, you might just get a reminder glimpse or two of just how magnificent your spirit is, and how much more your heart is than all those other things that people keep saying are so important. Deep down, you already know this. You could just use a nudge here and there, and that's why we're here. As my inner committee nudges me along, maybe I can share some highlights with you. And maybe you'll catch a spark to rekindle the home fires of your heart and lift your spirit to go hug those skies of all you can be. Join us again next time when we welcome you home to your heart and to the skies of your spirit.
High, 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 heaven eagle, born to fly up so high in the sky. Yes, I am an eagle.
Would you like to hear more of what you hear here? Hear, hear! Well, be sure to join us in 2 weeks when we plan to do this all over again, and maybe even better.
Seeing the best in me, blessed.
Or would you like to experience what you hear here somewhere else? Hear, hear! In fact, in person, what you hear may be all the more uplifting and possibly even life-changing. Do you have an idea for a concert with your church, synagogue, charity, or other group? We may even consider putting on special home concerts for groups of 15 or more. Yes, there are many considerations, such as distance, weather, expenses, and such. But if you have an idea for a concert at your seminar, conference, festival, fundraiser, or other event that you'd like for us to be part of, we'd love to hear from you. Contact us by email first at delightspring@aol.com with soul-soothing concerts in the subject line. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Hi, I'm Tweezer, just an all-around wise guy, alter ego, and hired self for Mr. LightSpring. Are you loving what you hear here? Well, here, and everywhere else, if you have one of those amazing, uplifting CDs from SteVen D. LightSpring. His latest CD, Awaken to Love, is available at cdbaby.com/SteVen D. LightSpring. Get you one of those puppies, and I promise you, they won't keep you up barking all night. They'll bless you good, and you'll make a mountain of difference for us to keep us flying here on Spirit Skies. Thank you, more than we can say.
Hi, SteVen D. LightSpring here. Are you into good vibes? Especially if, while making no guarantees, you find that they might just make your life better? Maybe, just maybe, it may be that they'll soothe your soul, bless your body, and spark your spirit. You never know, but we have a feeling you might just be so glad you did. Stop by beingwell.com and get a sweet load of good vibes. We'll be providing an oasis of soothing sound. Join us at beingwell.com.
Hold on. Don't know about any others, but this flavor for you.
Huh?
What? All our optional opinions and oceans of notions expressed on this heart-tugging, plugging show are most likely the fig Newtons of our imaginations and are never meant to be misconstrued to be anything to be taken with such seriousity as to replace meditation, or any other therapy for body, mind, or spirit that you may be otherwise obligated to continue.
Okay. Sure.
So, please do what you do on your own, and try not to blame us for any understandable double trouble you might wind up in from your own health and well-being choices, for which we cannot be held responsible. Thank you very much.